Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Hope everyone had a good 4th. As I think I commented to someone, we spent the 4th with COVID. We came back from our vacation and brought COVID with us. And I have a lingering cough, but other than that, we're all back on the mend. So thankful for that.
I guess you can't go on a cruise and travel across country and come back with nothing right now.
Yeah.
So thankfully, the symptoms were mild for all of us, and we're all pretty much back on the mend. So.
Hey, Steve. Yes, our last one got it last weekend, so we're all in the clear now.
Yeah, but with all that downtime to just relax, we had time to catch up on some shows that we've been wanting to stream for a while, and we had signed up for Apple TV Plus again recently to binge some things, and got through the latest season of Morning Show, which was excellent. If you all are fans of that show, you know what I'm talking about. It was really good, and I think there were a number of times we both felt like this could be about Paramount.
Yeah, and it's funny, going through all of the services, and I will say it's been a year or so since we had used Apple TV Plus, and not very user-friendly, I will say, in terms of actually getting an account, because they shut down our account thinking that it wasn't a valid account. And I got to instant chat with someone, had to schedule a call with someone just to have an account. And as I told them, watching TV should not be this difficult. But anyway, I digress. So we're going to get started. First is Prime Day deals. As you may or may not know, Amazon Prime Day is next week. Is it Wednesday and Thursday, or Tuesday and Wednesday?
I think it's
and 17th.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah. So there are some deals out there. If you are an Amazon house, you may be happy. Thanks, Nick. And I really appreciate that. So TVs, devices, streaming services will all have deals. Really, it's if you're wanting to replace like a Fire device is really where you're really going to find the deals. Like the 4K Max, down $25 to $34.99. The 4K down $25 to $24.99. And their 43-inch 4 Series 4K UHD TV is down to $230 from $370. Roku's appear to be about $10 off. The Roku Express is $19, down from $30, or the Express 4K $29, down from $40. And some streaming services have deals out there via Prime Video. They're largely niche services. And for the most part, they're usually like 99 cents or $1.99 for your first 2 months. Paramount Plus has a deal right now. It's not through Prime Video, but you get the first 2 months for $5.99 a month using the promo code SUMMER, and that deal ends on the 17th, and that's actually Paramount Plus with Showtime, so it's the higher end tier. YouTube TV is currently having $8 off a month for your first 4 months, so making it $64.99. And Sling TV is half off for the first month, and that's sort of an ongoing deal. And if you're in the market for a new device or service, don't overlook other retailers like Target, Best Buy, Walmart, things like that. And if you sign up through Prime Video for a streaming service, really stay on top of that if you only want it for that time period. I've always found it a little bit more cumbersome to get in through Amazon and cancel those, so really keep that in mind if you only want it for that given promo period.
Yep, definitely take advantage of those deals and save some money. Every little bit back helps, for sure. So with that, we're going to get into our first item, which is actually the Paramount Skydance merger. And as you know, I was just talking about that. If you joined us late, just mentioned that John and I just finished watching the season 3 of the morning show on Apple TV Plus, and we kept thinking about Paramount during it. So finally, if you hadn't known, after months of drama, Paramount Global and Skydance Media have agreed to terms that will see Skydance buy out Sherry Redstone's National Amusements Inc. and then merge with Paramount to form, get this, I kid you not, this is what the financial geniuses have decided, they're calling New Paramount. I just think that's so funny. They can't come up with a better name than New Paramount. But right now, that's what they're calling it. $6 billion in funding is coming from Larry Ellison, who is the father of David Ellison. His son is going to be the new CEO of New Paramount. $2 billion is coming from Redbird Capital, which is a private equity firm, and the deal is expected to close at the end of September next year. There's still right now a 45-day window that other bidders can emerge, but Paramount would have to pay Skydance a $400 million breakup fee.
And Sony is now reportedly out, so it will be Sony.
Yeah, I think it looks like this is going to stick, but we'll see. Even if that 45-day window goes through, the Justice Department is still going to need to approve it. And so it's going to be a long road. Since CBS is one of the assets, Justice Department's going to have to get in and take a look at that, probably the FCC. But again, like a scene from that morning show, if you've seen that show, Skydance says it can turn New Paramount into a tech-forward entertainment company that can compete with the likes of Disney, Netflix, WBD, and I think the question is that possible? If you don't know David Ellison, reading up some on him throughout this process, he was mentored by Steve Jobs. Especially watched Steve build Pixar from the ground up. So he arguably has some of that he's bringing in, and optimism's high that he's the right guy to turn this around. He's also behind blockbusters like Mission Impossible and Top Gun Maverick. So what are some of the priorities of this new team, and how's it going to affect us as streamers? Well, streaming is important to them. Rebuilding streaming's at the top of their list. They're also looking at an international venture, so they can generate some money that way. Showing you guys this because this is Jeff Shell. He's the former CEO of NBC Universal, and he's going to be the president of New Paramount. And he was quoted as saying, quote, "There's going to have to be some form of bundled solution to streaming." That's what he told investors. And then he said they're sorting their way through the muck, end quote, of how streaming services are currently distributed. David Ellison has said he thinks Paramount Plus needs to be overhauled to become more user-friendly, and he wants to improve the algorithms that control the recommended content to make that functionality better, and he wants to build better relationships with advertisers. They're also looking at licensing their content beyond just Paramount Plus, so it's possible we could see some content start to come out on Netflix. We've seen WBD do that. So on the bundling front, and then also we do know that they want to cut $2 billion of costs, and that's most likely going to come through cutting some jobs, unfortunately, and then also selling some of their assets. BET has been talked about. The Paramount studio lot has been talked about. Content. Yeah, and less content, but that's a bad cycle, because if you produce less content, you're not going to get as much engagement, and then it just keeps on going down. So we'll have to see what they do there. We do know that bundling is going to be part of it, as I've already read that quote there, and one of the ones being talked about as most likely would be for them to do a bundle with Max.
I think that would be really attractive.
Mm-hmm. Because then you bring in the football through CBS and everything on all the movie library that's Paramount, along with all the Warner Brothers movie library. It could be pretty compelling. So we'll have to keep watching that. But speaking of sports, just a quick note on that. How would this affect sports? Because CBS Sports is part of that. The NFL is an investor in Skydance Media. So There'll be some NFL rights there. As we know, CBS has NFL rights. The other things that CBS Sports has is half of March Madness. They have some top college conference sports. They have the Masters. So we'll have to see. John did note that Roger Goodell stopped just short of saying for sure that we're going to have CBS keep NFL games because of the merger.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. And so that really, just to bring that to a point, is this going to be a sign of more deals coming down the road? I personally think that it will. And that I think the writing is sort of on the wall about that. There was a big conference this week where big heads of media were there, and David Zaslav from WBD this week said on Tuesday, that was cited by Bloomberg, over the next year or two, you're going to see some real consolidation, whether that happens with companies buying each other or going after streaming together, he said, unquote. And then it's another quote, it's a time of transition where new business models are being evolved. A lot of people are down on the industry, but the reality is that consumption of content has never been higher. Production is still at historic highs. The only thing that's in question and that's debatable are the business models. But these transitions have happened before. We will come out of this, and what's efficient will become clear. And once that does, it'll be a more smooth environment. But we're in the middle of it right now, and until we get out of it, it's just a muddy environment. Sorry, that last quote was from analyst Dave Wisnia. And so I think that those thoughts from Zaslav, I think that's pretty pro on streaming, and given that so many streamers are yet to be profitable, it will be interesting to see what happens. And as we've discussed numerous times, I think there's going to be three big players that end up shaking out of this once the dust settles and returning to some sort of cable-like bundling situation.
And let's hope that we do get there sooner rather than later, because as you'll see in some of the other stories that we're going to talk about with sports rights, I think the next 2 years are going to be very confusing for people to find the games they want to watch.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to go next on to the NFL on Sunday Ticket, and shocker, the NFL wants the decision that was made 2 weeks ago, I think it was, right before we went on live, thrown out. Shocker.
The NFL has asked the judge in the case to overturn this, as you can see from the headline, nearly $5 billion class action jury verdict. Interesting to note that there was also, I know the $4 billion in the headlines, that's for residential customers, people like you and me who maybe signed up for it through DirecTV, but it was a $96.9 billion settlement for commercial client. Million for commercial businesses. So just add that into it. And this I thought was interesting. Damages can be tripled under federal antitrust laws. So the NFL could end up being liable for $14 billion. And they would spread that across the 32 teams. So your team would end up owing $441 million. So just interesting to note there. The NFL, not surprising, is calling the verdict or the ruling nonsensical. They definitely want it thrown out. They have they're claiming that the lawsuit was alleging that the league broke antitrust laws by selling the package at an inflated price. So that's at play there. And just in case you weren't following it, the jury determined that the NFL used broadcast agreements to restrict availability, which allowed DirecTV to charge higher prices. NFL says the jury's math is bad.
Shocker.
And they are haggling over the price, of course, because they just don't want to pay all of this. They're also arguing that the decision is being made on cases from the 50s and 60s, and they're claiming that everything's changed so much since then that this isn't applicable. And I thought this was funny. They're also, the NFL is calling out juror number 7, who was the 4-person, saying that jury member had a conflict of interest because they paid for a Sunday ticket subscription for a family member. And I think that's ridiculous, because if anything, it would just give you direct interaction and knowledge of the matter at hand. So, but clearly the NFL is using its high-priced lawyers to try to minimize the damages here. And then just the last thing to say is that a hearing has been set for July 31st. So we'll watch that and see what happens. It could be, there's a couple possible outcomes. The judge could order a new trial. They could reduce the damages award, or the judge could fully deny that motion. And if the motion is denied, the league plans to appeal, of course, which could potentially send the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. And then also a settlement is also possible.
I'm with Space Ghost. I love football. I will watch any kind of football, but the NFL absolutely deserves whatever it is that they get, especially given that they have made it, in their desire to make it, their product, accessible. You know, I use quotes there, to everyone, which really isn't accessible. You know, $800, $800 or $900, I think, is the math to watch every game. And even if you don't want to watch every game, if you want to watch big games, so many of them now are going to be behind a paywall. So anyway, more sports. The NBA rights deal appears to be done. This came out yesterday or Wednesday afternoon, I can't remember. They finalized contracts with NBC, Prime Video, and making them new partners while keeping Disney, so ABC ESPN, as the home of the NBA Finals, will last 11 seasons. So after this upcoming season, will last 11 seasons and is worth a reported $76 billion, with ESPN paying $2.6 billion annually, NBC $2.5, and Amazon $1.8 annually. Now TNT is reportedly still trying to attempt to get a fourth deal, but largely, from what I've read, targeting Amazon's package. The league's governors need to approve the deals, which is expected to be a formality at this point, after which TNT Sports will have 5 days to respond. The new agreements will feature national NBA telecasts nearly every day of the week, with NBC airing games on Tuesday and succeed Sunday Night Football after NFL season ends. Prime Video will stream games on Friday nights and Saturdays and will host the in-season tournament. ESPN will reduce its regular season games to around 80, with games on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays during the NFL season shifting to Friday nights later. And all three will have playoff games, with Amazon and NBC alternating showing conference finals, while ESPN keeping the finals coverage, which everyone absolutely loved, and I say that sarcastically, this past season. And if TNT doesn't match, this season will be its last for nearly 4 decades. So, like the NFL, the NBA is going to become more difficult to watch for people. You know, for those of us that remember the NBA on NBC, that is exciting to see, and games will be on Peacock as well. Now, TNT over the last few weeks and even the last couple months has been trying to bolster its sports content in lieu of what they're going to be losing through the NBA. Really, it's going to be True TV that's going to become basically a sports channel. Through TNT and True TV, WBD acquired rights to Big East basketball, Mountain West football, NASCAR, French Open, and they're going to be receiving sub-licensed games of CFP playoffs. And that's going to be starting this season, running for 5 years. And so it's, we've discussed the CFP in the past. TNT and Mountain West, they're going to have a multi-year agreement with the Mountain West Conference starting in the upcoming season. And then Big East basketball, TNT Sports has secured a 6-year broadcasting deal with the Big East. It includes coverage of over 65 men's and women's college basketball games. And as I mentioned, really a lot of this is me going to True TV. And so it'll be interesting to see if this allows them to bolster, stem whatever loss that they're going to get. I guess the thinking there is having more of a variety versus having the NBA. Unfortunately for them, the NBA is the second most popular behind the NFL. So, it'll be fascinating to see how it works out, and really if they try and go after Amazon's package. So time will tell on that. So, yeah. And sorry, thanks for asking, Space Ghost. Yeah, I've got a lingering cough from COVID. Our middle child got it last weekend, but he's on the mend, so we're all clear to go out in public now.
Yes, and thankful for that. All right, just got a couple more stories here for you, starting with a quick one on some new ads that are rolling out in Sling TV. It's called a pause ad. It's common. We've seen it, especially on Paramount Plus. If you are watching a show, whether it's live content or on demand, and you press the pause button, after about 10 seconds, an ad screen will pop up, static screen advertising something. You've probably seen them.
Yep, on many other services.
Sometimes they have a QR code or whatever, but everybody's doing them. Peacock, Prime, Video Max, YouTube, Hulu. So Netflix could be next. But the good news for Sling is that if you don't want this and you don't want to see those, you can disable them in the settings. Yeah,
unfortunately right now, that to start with, they're not. We don't currently have Sling. That's what we go with during the football season. But Freestream right now doesn't have the pause ads. But once we do get Sling, we will test that out and more than likely do a video on that to show you how to eliminate those.
Disable them.
Disable them, yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem. So then, and the last thing is just something that we just saw come out the other day, and that's news that
you saw come out.
Well, I did. I noticed it. Hallmark is going to start Hallmark Plus. So finally launching a new streaming service. They do have Hallmark Movies Now. They've had that for a while. Hallmark Plus is going to replace Hallmark Movies Now, and they are planning on launching it in September for $8 a month. And I'll tell you about some of the features here, but just something to call out is that no Hallmark content will be exclusive to cable any longer. Some of the content will start on cable, but it will all end up on Hallmark Plus. And it's also going to include older Hallmark films, 300 Christmas films, new original content, and $5 coupons for Hallmark Gold Crown stores, free greeting cards, exclusive access to live experiences, and then like surprise gifts like Christmas ornaments. So it's a good deal for people that like Hallmark. And just to say, why are they doing this now? I think it's because they see the decline of cable. Hallmark customers tend to skew older and they're very loyal. So I think Hallmark just sees that they need to attract a younger audience, and they know streaming is the place to do that. So
yeah, and great comment, Steve. Our oldest son he's anxiously awaiting the release of EA college football, and we got the pre-release one, so here in a couple of days. And so I will definitely be commandeering it to win the national championship with K-State. And
but you won't get his controller.
No, I won't.
Our son bought some stickers to put on the controller so that it looks like, it's got the K-State logo, and it's pretty cool looking. But
yeah,
he's made it clear that he's hanging onto the controller even if Dad insists on having his own K-State dynasty on there.
When we were homesick, I reminisced and played one game of NCAA 14, which I can't remember the last time I played that, but definitely looking forward to the improved graphics. And yeah, Space Ghost, as you know, those stupid pause ads are everywhere seemingly now, and
Yeah.
more and more services, it's, ads are just pervasive.
And it's annoying too if you pause the show because you want to, look at a certain scene or something, like a detail in a scene. You can't really do that. The ad pops up. So at least Sling is allowing you to disable them for now.
For now, yeah. For now.
Yeah, I haven't cared for them either. Feels a little too intrusive, in my opinion.
My least favorite ones are the ones where they make you try to make you choose which ad experience you want, and that's especially fun when I'm working out on the elliptical and I don't care,
and you can't really find the button on the remote and choose it, and then you have to wait and sit longer till it chooses one for you. Yeah, not great. We've been watching some Disney Plus, the kids and I. And just a little trick, because we have the ad-supported plan, if you create a kid's profile, you may already know this, but create a kid's profile and watch whatever you want through that. Most of the content on Disney Plus you can watch in a kid's profile, and it has shorter ad breaks. Not necessarily fewer, but they are shorter. Yeah,
going from like 90 seconds to 2-minute ads to like a 15-second ad or a 30-second ad. So that makes it a little bit more palatable.
Yeah. Still, I've noticed most of the ads are promoting Disney parks or Disney content. In my opinion, I don't think you should interrupt your... Whatever, I'm sure they'll work the kinks out.
Yeah. And again, just as a wrap up, don't forget Prime Day, Tuesday and Wednesday coming up. As I mentioned, the deals are at the beginning, and just make sure that, if you're in the market for a new device in particular, don't overlook some other retailers, the common ones like Target and Best Buy and Walmart, and just keep an eye on those services if you sign up for any through Prime Video, so you don't end up spending more than you plan to.
Definitely. Thanks, Steve. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. We will plan to see y'all next Friday.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Have a great week, everyone.